This is a test. This is a test of the Acoustic Homestead Project. This is only a test.
That would have been like probably my first real big push to do something towards music in my life.
And what it takes is dedication and hard work.
Whether you're listening or playing, somebody can relate to something, and it's a feel good thing for sure.
Hello and welcome to the AHP Studio Podcast, your very own music appreciation outlet for the Ozark region of the Midwest. I have a few announcements to make before we begin today's episode. May 9th, Michael Bruning will be performing at the Steelville Country Club at 6 p.m. May 10th, Brandy Lee will be performing on the main deck in Steelville, Missouri at 11 a.m., followed by Corey Schneider and Jerry Lorraine at 2 p.m. for the first annual Cruisin' the Ville 2025. Also, Real Noise will be performing at Sauces and Shows in Park Hills, Missouri at 5 p.m. And with that being said, let's begin today's episode. I sat down with Ryan Sales at his home to talk about where it all began for him and where it's going now. So here we go.
She's been talking to Tippy a lot, so she's all about the podcast deal.
Right on. Yeah, actually, I've never formally spoke with Tippy, but I'm on the page with her, and we kind of comment on some things like that.
I didn't never talk to her till 2 days ago, and she wants me to go on her podcast next week.
Oh, that's cool. That'll be great.
I was like, do I get to play something? Like, as long as I get to, play something, because she's big in the video and all that stuff, and I got no videos in me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I haven't integrated the video in yet, but I'm working on it, and I'm wanting to get video podcasting into our interviews with musicians and stuff, because I think that'd be more authentic and give a more personal feel. And some people would prefer to watch and listen.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let's get into it. Did you have any early inspirations or influences in your life that you'd like to talk about as far as like family and stuff like that?
Yeah. So my grandpa, he played bluegrass. His whole life, he had a bunch of buddies and stuff he used to play with that would come out to his house, and then he played the fiddle mostly. It was funny though, because he had his ring finger was broken at one point, so it was crooked. And as I grew up and got older, he played less and less, and he would always say something about that finger. But it was funny because every time he did, family would start laughing and stuff. And then my uncle, David Sales, he's played here in Farmington his whole life, and he won the Missouri's Best Flat Picker Award when he was 12, and
Oh, wow.
So everybody kind of knows him around here. He still plays in a band called Strings Attached. So as far as the instruments go, my grandpa gave me a fiddle for Christmas when I was in 6th grade, and I learned it enough in time. I learned it to play well enough to compete in the 6th grade talent show, and I got second place over a 3-piece band that did Green Day. So of course, like,
Oh, wow, that's cool.
They won, but they're really good. Yeah, so I didn't stick with the fiddle, and it sucks because now I really wish I did. My grandpa was really a big pusher on trying to get me to learn more bluegrass songs, and I remember when he gave it to me, he said if I could learn Devil Went Down to Georgia, he supposedly had this fiddle in his closet that the back of it was like gold plated or something. It had something to do with gold because the family talked about it a lot. But I lost interest, and then that was never a thing. But it's funny because I never did see that fiddle, so I don't know if somebody's got it and it's real, and
It's just a legend in the family.
I mean, at least to me it is. Like I just want to look at it, know that it was real and he wasn't lying. But I swear I've spent so many nights in my room like listening to Devil Went Down to Georgia over and over and over again on a CD, trying to learn it by ear, but it was just something about it didn't captivate my 6th grade mind, But then the next year, 7th grade, I ended up buying my first guitar, the electric guitar. And the only reason I bought that is because my friends at the time were Ryan Gillum, Nick Boggs, and I mean those two guys, as they were pretty much had the instruments as kids. Gillum was my first friend ever, actually, and our moms worked together, so I'd go out to his house all the time, and he had a drum set in this big garage, and his older brother was in a band, so we'd stand there and listen to him play and stuff, and then whenever they were done, Gillum would get on the drums, and as a kid, I remember thinking like, damn, man, this dude can play, like I've never seen another drummer, like ever, probably at that time, but he was just so good. So then like he pretty much taught me how to play drums. And I spent so much time out there that he would teach me how to keep a regular pattern going. And then Nick Boggs being out there, I mean that guy could play anything on guitar, and this was like when we were 14, 13. He was just naturally good, and so those two guys were actually big influence. As far as the music people go, I felt like it was Nick Boggs and Ryan Gillum were the two bigger ones for me, and well, then I got older, so 7th grade I had an electric guitar. 8th grade, I played, but I mean I wasn't really I never took any lessons on any instruments, and I wasn't a fast learner, so I would play like I'd learn like the beginning of like a bunch of songs, and never did really learn one completely all the way through, and but then my sister actually got, which I don't even know why she ever got it, but she got an acoustic guitar, I think, for Christmas one year, and she never played it. She took piano lessons, and she was into that for a while, but anyway, I had the electric. Well, I like to play it a lot, and you can't practice electric guitar at nighttime when everybody's in bed sleeping, so I got to this habit where I would sneak into my sister's room and take her acoustic, and which honestly I don't even know why I snuck in, because like I never did put it back one time. I don't think, like she'd always like find it in my room and yell at me, and but I'm like, you don't even play it, but then one night, same thing, I did that, went into her room, got her acoustic. I had the Eric Clapton's MTV Unplugged, and it was a DVD of it, and I put it in and played it, and then it got to Layla, which, I mean, that song to me, like my dad, like growing up, we had the Marantz tube stereo and the vinyls and all that. I remember the first time he put on Layla, and it's all you heard was like the vinyl, and then just I was like, oh my god. Well, Layla came on the Unplugged. I was like, man, that was awesome. Oh, then the next song I think was Tears in Heaven, and I sat there and watched that, and I was like, that that's what I want to do. I'm like, that's it. That's what I want to do. So I pretty much kept my sister's guitar. She pretty much never got it back after that night. I never went back to electric guitar since that night. I still have it, but I never plugged it in. And so I went acoustic, and the older I got, the more I was like, I really was like giving myself more supportive reasons to play acoustic. Like if I go somewhere, I can just play it, don't have to plug in. That was the first thing a lot of people think of. And then I ended up being the kid that brought my guitar to school, and I probably annoyed so many people. But I wasn't the only one, but I was one of the, more predominant ones, that played. And every time I'd learn something, I'd go into the lobby of the school and like just walk around playing it, making people mad. And I joined a band in high school, and I tried to do the electric again, and I was like, I can't do it. And it didn't go anywhere because I was like, I don't feel this, I don't like this. And something about the whole band thing, I'm like, this ain't for me. So I did try to do the electric again, but it was just became wall ornament pretty much after that. And then Kendall May died. And when he died, that was like everybody felt that, because that guy was, every one of us in school went through all of school with him, and he was the nicest dude. It was, I don't think he had beef with anybody, and he was built like the Rock. I mean, for a 17, 18-year-old kid, it was unreal. And so he had the nickname Superman, which was fitting, Anyway, he died, and it really affected everybody in more ways than one, and in more ways than what we could, as kids, tell our parents. You know what I mean? Like, everybody was doing something similar, and it's weird because the last time I hung out with him, it was just me, him, and Adam Portell, and we were at Mayberry Cemetery, and that's where he's buried. And it was really a weird feeling, because everybody's got their own personal stories with him. But for me, that was kind of significant, because me and Kendall never did have one-on-one time. You know what I mean? We were cool with each other. We were friends with each other. We went to school our whole lives together. But that was really the first time that, I was like finding out about him, like as a person, as a friend. And yeah, then he died, and I never did see myself as somebody that would write music. I would just always be the guy that just played half of songs, and then it was the first time, I guess, that I'd ever felt something that like was more like a social hurt and depression, because like it wasn't just me feeling it, like it was everybody. Like as a kid, like we didn't, if it could happen to him, it could happen to anybody. And so I don't know what it was. I didn't plan it out or nothing. I was just in my room and was like, I just want to write something. I didn't know what I was gonna write. I didn't start it out to be a song, for sure. But then it's 5 minutes into it, I was like, okay, well, I'm writing a song. And yeah, the first song I ever wrote, I was 17, and I wrote it for Kendall. And then fast forward to 31, 32, I pretty much always did the same thing, just learned the songs, picked it up every once in a while. The older I got, the more it kind of sat off in the corner. And And then I hit a pretty rough patch, and I mean, I didn't play anymore. And as far as country music goes, I thought it died like a long time ago. I quit listening to the radio. I mean, I never did listen to the radio when I first had my first car. I just didn't like it. And so, oh shit, I lost my train of thought when I said something about radio.
Talking about country music.
Hell yeah. I thought it was gone. So, like, you know, about the time Kenny Chesney came around, I think it's like when I was like, all right, I'm out. Because I loved Brooks and Dunn and Dixie Chicks. I love Dixie Chicks.
Yeah, and like Little Big Town and stuff.
Yeah, so then somebody, one of my family friends, like friends with that family that's friends with my grandpa and my uncle, like that knows them real well. I've heard their names, you know, my whole life growing up. It's Amston boys, and one of them, Norm, plays with my uncle all the time. Well, I was working at Grand Rental, and a few of them came in together to get something. I don't know what they rented, but they were talking to me about some music, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I play." And he's like, "Well, come on out to the barn," in which, you know, anybody else around here would know exactly where that was at, but I'd never been out there. And yeah, I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll come out when I get off work." And he gave me directions. I went out there, and it was exactly what I've always wanted to, you know, experience. And it was just a bunch of like good old boys with guitars sitting around in a barn, like taking turns playing stuff. So I was like, yes, you know, older guys, you know, nobody's gonna be arguing about nothing. So they played some songs. I knew some of them, and then Norm asked his, I guess it was his nephew, to go get his mandolin, and he goes inside, comes back out with the mandolin, and he's like, play that Feathered Indian song. So they played Little Feathered Indians, and they got done playing it, and I was like, what the hell was that? And they're like, you don't know Tyler? And I was like, who? They're like, Tyler Childers. I was like, who is that? And they're like, that's, you know, Little Feathered Indian. That's one of his big hits right now. I'm like, big hits? Like, first of all, I've still yet to hear that on the radio. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I just never, if I hear it, Nothing Else Matters one more time, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean, though, because, like, all the music that we've found ourselves listening to these days, none of it's on the radio, and none of it's probably ever going to be on the radio unless they change the whole format of what radio is.
Mm-hmm. And then that's somebody crossing a boundary somewhere for some reason.
Yeah.
Why?
So we get to stay underground, I guess, and we just have a different realm.
Screw it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Call me a mole person. But yeah, so that night I found out who Tyler Childers was. So when I left, I immediately I used Pandora at the time. I immediately pulled out Pandora and put in Tyler Childers. That whole drive home changed my whole life. I was like, what? Where is this? Like, where's this stuff been? That's the one question I kept asking. Like, where has it been? So, like, when I find something I like about music, like a lot of people, like, I research the hell out of it because I want to make sure that I'm appreciating somebody that's worth appreciating. You know, like,
Yeah.
Not a table rider where they got a hit that's 12 guys. You know, no.
No, and then you can't find a song you don't like by the guy.
Yeah. So that's when I started really getting mad because I'm like, if I haven't heard anything that I don't like.
And why have I never heard it?
So why have I never heard it? And it's been out for a couple of years. And it took me a while to even realize that Sturgill Simpson produced Tyler's album.
Purgatory.
Like,
Yeah.
So then I'm like, who's Sturgill Simpson?
It goes, you know,
Yeah. So and then he became my he is my hero. If it wasn't for Sturgill, I'd probably fucking. I mean, I've thought about it 100 times. Like if I didn't find definitely Sturgill and Tyler, like I was not going into a good direction. So immediately, like everything starts changing for me. Like all of a sudden, like I'm revamped into country music, which has been dead to me, for so long. And I just started to get into it just like everybody else did, and like started to feel every song, all the words. I'm like, my God, and then started to pay attention to not only like those guys' songs and words, but to all music now. Like if the words are just a bunch of crap, I'm like I can't appreciate it.
yeah. And when you got like the same repeating chorus over and
Yeah,
over or something
yeah,
like that,
yeah.
it doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't feel you don't feel anything.
It
from
doesn't mean anything exactly. The
Yeah.
song doesn't mean nothing.
For me, it was I heard a Chris Stapleton song on the radio, and I was like, this I could listen to. This
Yeah.
is country I could listen to.
Yeah.
And so I started looking up his music, and then I found the Steel Drivers, and I was like, I fucking love bluegrass. I didn't
Oh.
realize how much I love bluegrass. And that's when my Pandora was like, hey, you should listen to Tyler Childers. And then I found Sturgill Simpson, and then eventually Colter Wall, and that was where my obsession came in, like, really deep when I found Colter Wall and Tyler Childers. And Sturgill
yeah.
Simpson, I started really focusing on trying to be an individual playing a guitar accompaniment that sounded talented enough to go with my voice, so that I could actually put on a show instead. Because for me, I love to sing. I'm not really a great guitarist. I just love to sing, and I wanted a good excuse to do so. So it all started with karaoke for me, gaining stage confidence with karaoke, and then
Really? That's how you started doing karaoke?
I gained my stage confidence with karaoke all the way, and then once I was memorizing lyrics so that I wouldn't have to look at the teleprompter.
Mm-hmm.
So then once I could just sing a song to the crowd authentically, like I'm in the band, not reading off of a computer, that's when my confidence went up a lot. And then I started bringing my guitar into it and learning better techniques on the guitar, because like I played guitar as a teenager, but I wanted to be a lead metalhead punk band guitarist. I hated country. For the same reason, because radio country is dog shit, and it still is. They stopped playing good country on the radio in like 80s or 70s.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about all that. And the whole, I can't believe you found the Steel Drivers before Tyler Childers.
It was right around the same time.
That's crazy.
And it was just really big, like, influence on authentic lyrics, and just a really good, comfortable sounding music all around.
Yeah, so I put off Chris Stapleton himself like for years, because I was like, okay, the guy, I've heard a couple of his songs on the radio. I don't know how many times I heard Tennessee Whiskey, so I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a good song. I'm not a bandwagon jumper, so
Yeah.
So I put it off. Well, then he kept popping up I couldn't get away from him. And then finally I started listening to some of the, I don't know if they're deep tracks, but Nobody to Blame, stuff like.
Yeah, dude, those are good ones.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is good, and so it helped me to start listening to Chris, and I think that what you were talking about with your voice and karaoke, like I never sang ever. I mean, I barely talk as it is, I'm like, so I just never sang. And then I started hearing Tyler and stuff. Well, I always liked to, I say I never sang, but I always sang in the car by myself, like exclusively. That's it. But I never had a voice. Like I never had my own anything. But I did love to listen to Joe Cocker sing. Like just something about him singing. Him and Benjamin Burnley from Breaking Benjamin. just I'm like those two guys. Like, man, if I could ever have a voice and get to choose, it'd be probably Joe Cocker. But but it's not like I like had to practice doing it. Like, I would just sing kind of like Joe Cocker, but not nearly like he with the oomph that he gives it. Like, I was just trying to keep the right key, more or less. But then I mean, I did that for years. And then Tyler's music came out, and I was like, man, this guy's got just something about his voice. His voice in House Fire. I listened to that song over and over and over, and just even the guitar, I was like, just everything about this is just good. And he's got that, like that tremolo when he can kind of do it when he sings real high. And I never was able to do anything like that, let alone sing the way I do now with it. But I was going to work one morning, and I'm pretty sure it was White House Road playing, and I was just kind of like getting into it for the morning, and then I'm like, screw it, I just started singing. Well, like second or third line, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I was like no way. And it's kind of like when you flip over a rock and you find something, and it's like just a piece of it, and then you start digging at it to see more of it. That's exactly what was happening in the truck on the way to work.
It's like finding your voice.
Yeah, just like all the different muscles I could hit, and then with the diaphragm, which I was always told that was a big thing. So like, I knew that beforehand, because I know people in bands my whole life, so I've always heard about that. So I was just, next thing I know, I'm going down 67 and I'm getting it. Like I'm going back repeat on White House Road, singing the whole thing, and was like, okay. So that's what got me thinking about, like, I got to hear myself. So that's when I was like, okay, maybe I'll get a video. Or I started with like the audio recorder on my phone, but it was like, it wasn't that great. It's not as good as when you do a video for some reason on the phones that I had. So I was living in a cabin out between Farmington and Fredericktown, and it was pretty close to Millstream Gardens. So one day I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go down there to Millstream, and they had a pavilion, and I just set my phone up and started recording everything so I could listen to it later. I didn't really have a specific motive for setting it up and recording. But I did Little Feathered Indians, because I was like, man, that song, if I ever gonna do one, like, that's the one I want to do first, because I heard it first and everything. And so I go home and I'm like listening to all of it, and I was like, damn. I was like, and I don't talk about myself at all, but like, for being my first time trying to listen to it, I'm like, okay, maybe I can work on this. Like, for the most part, I had guitar down for years, and then it just took off from there. Next video, and I just all started getting uploaded one after the other on Facebook. And actually, I didn't have a Facebook for 4 years. I got rid of it, and I was like, well, I kind of want people to see it because I like it. So, like, one after the other, and then it stayed like that for a while, and then the path that I was going down, I was veering off of it, but I was still riding it. It wasn't good. And anyway, I ended up staying on that path pretty much till it flipped me over in the ditch, and I became like a stereotype to the county. Like, I lost everything, and I mean, I didn't have nothing, so like, I screwed up pretty bad. So there was one day where, like, I don't know what was going on. It was like my anxiety mixed with this newfound depression, which like, I've never been depressed before. And everybody's like, no, dude, you're fucked up. Like, you're messed up right now. I don't know. I was standing in the kitchen and I was like, I gotta do something. And it's like I had this almost the same feeling I had when Kendall died, but not the sadness. It's like this was more regret and like I have to do something about the type of person I am. So like, what am I gonna do? So I kind of the same way sat down. There was a pen and a notebook, and I just started writing what was coming to me, like straight out of my head. I still got it was a little notepad, one of the little bitty Mead ones, and I just started writing, and it was a song again, just like the first time. And I was like, I'm just like, I don't stop thinking about it, just like keep going. And then next thing I know, the whole song's done, and I was like, holy shit. And I mean, I was in the recliner in the living room, and I just like I started crying because I was like, this is like, to me, I was like, man, this is really something. Because like, if there's any way to tell a mass audience like how you fucked up and you hate yourself for it, write a song, write a good one. And it's like, for the first one, I was like, holy shit. So there was a line in it that, like, it was done, but there was a line in it that stuck with me for a couple weeks. And then I woke up one morning, like 3 in the morning, and just came in here. I got ripped out another piece of paper, and I just started writing the same song line for line, because I was like, I know when I get to that line, like, it's just gonna come to me. Like, because I woke up because I was like, oh my god, there's something about the song, you know what I mean? But when you wake up instantly like that from a dream, you're like trying to think about what it was, kind of thing. But I get to that line, and sure enough, like, I'm pretty sure it's even right now, it's probably still my favorite line out of any of my songs. But I've had friends that have died that once stood by my side, so for now, just for them, I'll stay and try and survive. I was like, what? Like, if that don't relate to people around here, I mean, I was like, that's it. From like, so I was like, holy shit. I just laid it there, went back to bed, and then when I woke up the next morning, I was like so fucking happy. But it was like, I didn't push it out on people or nothing, like, oh, look at this, like, how happy I am, you know what I mean? Like, I just sat on it. And then when an opportunity came, to talk about something like that, I was bringing it up to people, which everybody knew I was playing all the time now, just, doing cover songs and stuff, posting videos. Then I went to Arkansas for a weekend to visit my cousins, and I played it for them, and they were like, that's really good. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks, So on the way home, there's one truck stop between here and Arkansas, and I always stop at it, and I call it my lucky truck stop. Like, I actually wrote a song called Sitting at a Truck Stop Again. But I wasn't going to stop because I didn't need to. But like, I get coming up on it, I'm like, all right, screw it. So I turned in there, I'm like, I'm going to do this. I pulled into a little pavilion picnic table they have, brought my phone up just like I did with the first cover song I did, and one take just did it. It was, to me, I was like, all right, that was good. It made it through, didn't sound bad. And as soon as I get done, there's this man and his daughter. They were actually going from like Arizona to Maryland. He was taking her to college. They walked over to me, and they told me that it sounded good. I was like, hey, that sounded all right. And they're like, the dad was like, he was the one asking the questions, and he was like, did you write that? I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty good. So they're talking for a while, and he's like, so what's your name? And I was like, Ryan Sales. And he's like, oh, okay. And said a couple more things, and he's like, so, okay, but so who are you? And I'm like, what? like, Ryan Sales? And he thought I was somebody famous. And I was like, all I did was stop and play the first song basically that I wrote, like for the first time, like in a public space kind of thing, because I wanted to record it. And then, I mean, not 5 seconds later, this guy's over here asking me questions. I was like, okay. So I was like anxious to get out of there. And as soon as I got on the highway, I posted it to Facebook. I was like, screw it, I'm doing it. And by the time I got back to Farmington, just the likes alone on it for somebody like me was ridiculous. And then the views just kept going up. And then the comments were one thing. I mean, reading comments like that it's I don't know, it makes you not think about all the bad shit in the world for a minute, you know.
Right.
But then the messages I was getting were from people that I used to talk to in high school, people I never talked to in high school, or stuff like people I've just never talked to at all, were messaging me, and they were all basically saying the same thing, just like that they were proud of me, like more or less for showing vulnerability, or I guess something like or another. But I mean, to me it was just like pretty much, you know, writing on a big poster like I fucked up, you know, I did stupid shit, basically just without actually saying what I did, you know, like this is what it was, and try to get it most like relatable as possible. And then that's what, like, over time it's like, oh my god, the relatability thing, if anybody says anything, it's like, man, like I feel that. I'm like, awesome, like great, that's all I wanted. And I didn't think about writing anymore after that at all. And then I got told, about the underground in Park Hills, that they had an open mic, and I was like, I'll go do some covers. And so I went to the open mic, and it was the first night that they had it apparently, and I thought they had been doing it for a couple weeks before this. But I got up there, did like I think 3 songs, and then I was like, all right, I'll do my song just for whatever. I didn't even say anything about it, you know. I don't talk when I get up there. I played my song, and they liked it. Like, you could tell it wasn't somebody doing another cover. It was one they never heard. I guess a couple people knew that it was an original, like, because the next morning I got a message from, it was the next morning or a couple mornings after, but anyway, Chad Winch got a hold of me from the Barn podcast, and he's like, hey, you know, we liked your song, and we want you to come in and do a cover in an original. I was like, are you serious? Like, what? Like,
yeah.
Like, this is you know, I've only played that song out one time, and I'm like, okay, so this is obviously my baby from here on out, you know. I gotta treat it as such. And basically ever since then, I mean, I had, even if there were unintentional fires lit under me, like, I had something going on, and I just started beelining, because you know, when you're growing up, like, you're asked a question, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? You're asked that a lot.
Yeah.
And I've never, even as a kid, when you're asked that, I could never think of saying something. I was just like, how the fuck do I know? Like, how does anybody know what we're going to be at in 10 years? I could win a scratch off $1 million.
Yeah, how much happens in 1 week?
Right.
Or even 1 year, let alone 5 or 10
Exactly.
years. I've been on so many different journeys in the past 5 years. I would have never known that I was going to be in the place that I am now.
Right.
Or doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. So my answer, every time I was asked it, regardless of what kind of response I knew I would get, was like, well, I would say something with music, because I know I love it. Like, I know I could do it forever if I wanted to. I'm not gonna get burnt out on it, you know? And So that's kind of like, it just feels like that's where I'm, you know, supposed to be. I would have majored in music at Mac if I had the opportunity. Went in on a Pell Grant, and I wanted to go for music, but I was kind of deferred to go a different route. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was kind of forced to go to college because I had scholarships and stuff, but I didn't want to go to school anymore. I was in school for freaking 13 years. I need a break. And back then, I had no intentions of music the way I do now. So
yeah, and see, then that would have been like probably my first real big push to do something towards music in my life as a living. You know, back if I could have went to school for it. But yeah, I realized eventually like I was going for reasons that I felt like weren't really mine, so lost interest in it, lost the Pell Grant, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's crazy what directions the musical journey can take you, and like how many different connections you can make just by being in the scene.
You're right. The whole full circle effect's really happening for me because, like, my grandpa, growing up, like from the time he gave me that fiddle, he always said, even when I switched to guitar, he would always say, you should learn bluegrass, because if you learn how to play bluegrass, you can learn how to play anything. Because he knew, like, I taught myself. I wanted to teach myself. And I was like, bluegrass? You know, I was always, as a kid, I was like, fuck bluegrass. Like, who listens to bluegrass, you know? And now I wear his, my grandpa's belt buckle. It says bluegrass on it, and it's got a banjo and a guitar, which I can play both of those. And it's just crazy that, like, that's what I'm chasing now, what he always said. It's just, oh man,
It's a pretty interesting journey.
yeah.
Do you have, I know we have the time, but do you want to play one of your original songs to close us out?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, give us a second. We'll get everything set up here, and we'll come back.
Oh, this song is called Middle-Aged Man.
How can I live? How can I keep this up? Waking up is a gift, but it's never enough. I'm scared for my life and don't know who to trust. I'm a middle-aged man now, still finding his strut. I know it's cliche, and you hear it all the time. If it wasn't for the music, I'd already died. If it wasn't for the music, I'd already died. Well, I never once lay eyes on the ocean. Too many jobs with depression and motion. I've seen happiness and I know it exists. Only in my memories, the ones that I miss. I know I'm gonna die sometime, and why is it always on my mind? Scared to love, to fight, to breathe, someone to save myself from me. How can I live? How can I keep this up? Waking up is a gift, but it's never enough. I'm scared for my life and don't know who to trust. I'm a middle-aged man now, still finding his strut. I've seen happiness and I know it exists. Only in my memories, the ones that I miss. Only in my memories, the ones that I miss. Only in my memories, the ones that I miss.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Ryan Sales. This has been Richard with the AHP Studio Podcast. Thank you for listening and stay in the loop.